Hi everybody, for today's video I wanted to show you how to create free looks with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Prism palette. I wanted to share my first impressions, how I paired the different eyeshadows together, which combination came up to my mind spontaneously playing with the palette for the first time. I want to show you how to get the most payoff for each shadow and give you my thoughts on the formula, pigmentation wise and color wise. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, click on that little notification bell so you don't miss out on any video, and without any further ado, let's start with the first look. Alright, so first of all, look at this palette. This is such a pretty palette. I know at the beginning it might be a little bit confusing. I'm not sure what to do first, but I don't know, those colors are really interesting and I like the layout. And so in this one you have 7 matte, which is pretty good. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with the flow and discover with you guys what it is all about. So I already put some Tarte Shape Tape on my lids. I'm just going to set it with the color Unity, that bone color. A little bit of Kick Up. So it's a little bit more yellow than it looks in the pan, which is fine for my skin tone, but I don't know about someone with a lighter skin tone. You won't be able to set your eyelid or highlight your brow bone with this color. Alright. So if you see, there's a little bit of yellow in this color. I'm gonna go with the shade Eden. Just gonna barely tap the brush first, because these are still really pigmented. It's definitely more pressed than Subculture. Barely tap the brush and look at that pigmentation. That's a very pretty color. Not as much Kick Up with that one. I'm going to go to Sphere, that kind of neon yellow, a little bit of green in it. So I'm gonna use a ColourPop brush and place it in the inner corner. This kind of color that I never use, so it's a little bit confusing first. This could be really pretty for spring too, actually. Then I'm taking a e.l.f. blending brush and I'm gonna go to the color Saturn. And I'm gonna intensify the outer corner. Very pigmented. Drag it into the crease. See how easy it is to blend? That's very nice. I'm gonna go to the shade Parallel, this nice brown. Just tap the brush, barely. Once again, I'm just gonna deepen the outer corner. Really easy to blend. And once again, that's a kind of palette that pushes you out of your comfort zone. I'm gonna go to Eternal. Might need a glitter glue. I'm just gonna try first with my finger and we'll see if I need a glitter glue, and I'm just gonna pop that in the middle, in the center of my lid. Ooh. Very pretty color. So this is how it looks like just with a dry finger. It is a very pretty color. I really like that. I'm just gonna pop in some NYX glitter primer on the other lid and we'll see the difference. Just right here in the middle. I'm gonna use a brush that came with the palette, so I'm gonna use that end. And you know what? There's not a huge difference. Let's see. Oh yeah, maybe a little bit, yeah. glittery, duochrome. There's a little bit of gold, a little bit of kind of a peach gold, rose gold. Very, very pretty. Okay, I'm gonna go with my finger. Yeah. Oh, I'm really, really liking that. I'm just gonna pop in more glitter primer on the other side. But it was not bad without the primer. Just, I want both sides to look the same. Zero fallout. And this is how the palette looks like. Alright, getting back to my Sephora Pro brush, and I'm gonna go back to Saturn, this shade. Just a little tapping brush. And bring it back into the crease, so everything is nice and diffuse. Alright, and with my pinky, I'm actually gonna go back to Sphere, that neon yellow, and pop it again in the inner corner. Okay, and a little bit in Saturn with my finger, just to work the transition. I'm gonna put some liner on. I'm gonna use my Tom Ford. That liner, it's been a year now, but I have it. And it works like it's brand new. So expensive, but it's probably the best eyeliner I have. Actually, I'm gonna take the brush that came in the palette. I'm gonna use that side and use a little bit of Lucid. It's kind of a shimmer gold duochrome color, and I'm just gonna slightly dust it under the brow bone. I don't want it to be too intense. And now on the lower lash line, I'm gonna go back to Unity, the first shade we used. I'm gonna take my Fenty Beauty brush, this side, and should I do something a little bit different, a little bit crazy? I'm gonna take, yeah, let's try that. I'm gonna try Osiris. I'm gonna have to wet my brush with Osiris. Okay, I'm gonna take a smaller brush, a Kiko 09. I'm actually going to spray it. Oh yeah, way better. Go to Eden to make the link with the inner corner. Well, so that's the finished look for this first look with the Prism palette. Put a little bit of the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dread matte lipstick. I think it looks very nice. It looks very fall. I really like it. I just added a little bit of Endless Silkly Eye Pen by Pixie by Petra in the color Black Blue, and this is a very beautiful metallic blue in the warp line, and I think it works great with the color Osiris, this one. They pair really well together, and I really like how Osiris and Saturn and Eternal are working together. Like, well, all the shades together work really well, which is surprising because first of all, when you see the palette, you're like, oh la la, what am I gonna do with all these colors? But actually, yeah, no, they blend super easily. They're super pigmented, and well, so far, really happy with the shades I've used. Yeah, and then, well, I put tons of mascara. I didn't put lashes on. I'm really happy with that first look, but we're not done, so let's move on to the second look. Alright, look number 2. So I already primed my eyes with my Tarte Shape Tape, and I set it with my Clinique Loose powder. So first I'm gonna go to the shade Lure and go in my crease with it. Okay, so this shade Lure can get really pigmented, so beware. And it's pretty, but if you don't want it that intense, make sure you tap your brush. Go light-handed. It's crazy how dark it gets. It's a very pretty color. You can wear like for more neutral looks, you know, something a little bit more natural during the day. Very pretty color. Well, next I'm gonna go to Obsidian, the black matte shade, and I'm gonna go light-handed first. I'm just gonna do like one tap on the pan. Okay. With a Colourpop brush. Okay, so that's pigmented because it was barely tapped. I'm gonna take my 217 from MAC. Go in the inner corner. And do a little windshield wiping motion. So of course, if you want something like very black, well, I'm sure we can get really intense with that shadow, but you can also use a cream base, you know, that is dark or black. But I like to see how a shadow works on its own for a first impression. It blends really easily. It's very pigmented because I'm going really light on brush. I'm gonna go back to Lure, the first shade, and just go back in the crease to blend a little bit more and blend out the edges. Now I'm taking a Colourpop pencil brush and I'm going back to Obsidian, a black shadow. And I'm just going to intensify the outer corner. Because this lid is slightly bigger than this one, and this one is a little bit more folded, I'm gonna cheat a little bit. I'm gonna try. Now I'm gonna take a little bit of my Too Faced Shadow Insurance, and I'm gonna place it where I left my lid bare. And then I am taking the color Dimension, and I'm gonna pop it in the center of my lid with my finger. So yeah, there's like some purple glitters. There's a little bit of blue, silver. I'm gonna take the brush that came with the palette and just lightly dust a little bit of that black here. So the transitions is nice. There's no harsh line on both sides. And there's a little bit of fallout, but nothing dramatic considering it's a black shadow. I'll put my concealer after. Alright, so I just put back a little bit of concealer. I decided not to go with something really sharp. I like how it's like diffused and like kind of smoky in the outer edges. You can always go back, and once again, if you want something really sharp like cat eye, you just go back. You can wipe like with a wipe or a little bit cotton and makeup remover, and then place your concealer. I'm gonna go to Lucid once again for the inner tear dot, and this time I'm going to wet my brush with a little bit of Fix Plus and pop this in the inner corner. I'm gonna try to highlight my brow bone with the shade Unity. Might be a little bit too dark, we'll see. Yeah, it's a little bit yellow. Not the ideal highlight for a brow bone. I'm just gonna go with something a little bit lighter, fresh from Anastasia Beverly Hills. And you know what? I'm actually finding Lucid slightly too gold for the inner corner. So I'm gonna go on top of it. Okay, so I placed a little bit of concealer in the inner corners again, and I'm actually going to go with Urban Decay Midnight Cowboy Rides again, single shadow. I'm gonna take my e.l.f. Cosmetics brush, blending brush, and I'm gonna go back to Lure. Barely tap the brush. Remember, it's very pigmented. With a Makeup Forever Professional straight brush number 208, I'm gonna go to Obsidian, the black shade, and go really close to my lash line with it. And smudge it a little bit. Keeping it really intense at the roots of the lashes. And you know what? I'm gonna put some more at the roots of the lashes on top as well. With the same brush, I'm going back to Dimension. I'm gonna pop it just in the center, right here. And I'm going to put on a little bit of liner, mascara, and I'll be right back. And that is the finished look. So I actually popped on some false lashes as well. They're a little bit intense. And then I just took some of my, well, I did a little bit of a contouring and a little bit of blush. And on top I used my Anastasia Beverly Glow Kit. I popped on some of the Forever Young highlighter right here on my cheeks, my nose, and all over my lips on top of my balm. And then I used a little bit of Forever Lit, this one, in the inner corners of my eyes, just a little bit, a little pop. And actually I kind of like that icy touch on the lips. I think it goes really well with the look. And well, I did a sort of classic smoky eye, because who doesn't want to create a smoky eye look with a palette? So well, good news, it's a great palette for a smoky eye. The black is excellent. It's very pigmented, but it blends very well. You go light-handed first and you build in the color and you won't have any problem. There's a little bit, a tiny bit of fallout, but honestly it has to be expected with black shadow. I will suggest just do your eyes first. That's a rule. Usually when you do a smoky eye, you just start with the eyes and slowly building the color. But Obsidian is a very good black. And then I really enjoyed that color Dimension. I used a little bit of eyeshadow primer, the eyeshadow insurance from Too Faced, and it worked really well. I just like dab in with my finger and it was really pretty. So first I used Lucid for the inner corner, but it actually was a little bit too gold. So as you saw, like I just took another shadow from another palette, which was slightly more pink. So maybe we're missing a little highlighter that is pinkish, and Unity definitely is too dark for under the brow bone for me. But otherwise, once again, the eyeshadow formula is excellent. It blends really well, and so far, yeah, I'm still really happy with this look. We can now jump onto the third look. Alright, onto the third look. So, I'm gonna start with the shade Unity, and my lid is already primed and set with a little bit of my NARS concealer, and I set it with my little Be Fine powder, loose powder. So now I'm gonna go onto the shade Unity, go in my crease of it. It is slightly darker than my skin tone, slightly. This is why we're starting with a soft transition, which I know doesn't show up that much, but well, it will help with the blending. And I'm going to drag it like over here. Now I'm going to go to the shade Sphere, the yellow one. Same brush, and go in the crease with it. Then I'm gonna go to the shade Saturn. Same brush, barely tap the brush because it's very pigmented. And again, go in the crease with it and focus in the outer corner. And I barely tap my brush and look how pigmented it is, it's crazy. So soft, like for everyday look, this would be perfect. But we're going to intensify. I love how buildable the shadows are, like it's very nice. I really like the formula. Once again, blending like a dream. With my Sigma E25 brush, and I'm gonna pick up the shade Parallel, a nice brown, and just work the outer corner. I'm actually going to take a fluffier brush and go back to parallel and drag it into my crease a little bit. I am loving that shade Parallel. Ah, such a nice color. Now I'm gonna go with the shade Throne, which I'm really excited about. That beautiful shimmery emerald. I'm first going to try with a dry brush. I'm gonna use my Fenty Beauty double-ended brush. See how it works dry. Okay, so this kind of shade, I'm gonna go with a finger, but I think you need either the finger or to wet your brush, because yeah, when you go with your finger, this is intense. So we're gonna go with the finger and apply that. Yeah, look at that. It shifts from that royal blue to that emerald green. It's a very, very beautiful color. Blend it into the crease before actually spraying my brush and go back to it. Oh yeah, boom. This needs a setting spray. You need a wet brush. Look at that. So pretty. I'm gonna go with my Health blending brush. Well, I'm gonna go to Saturn again. Just like work my transition a little bit more. Okay, and then I'm gonna go to Parallel with the same brush and same thing, put it in the crease. So there's a nice shift from like the green to the brown to the orange. Just took some of my Tarte Shape Tape in the shade Light Sand, and I'm just carving out my cut crease and then just soften up the edges so it makes a nice transition with the shade Throne. And I am taking the shade Pyramid, I haven't used yet, and I'm going to use a flat synthetic brush to pick up. So I'm gonna try it like first without wetting the brush. And this needs to be wet, so I'm gonna wet the brush. Boom. And here is a beautiful gold. I'm slowly merging it onto the Throne shade, and it works pretty well. It creates a nice transition. I'm gonna pick up some more of that Throne shade, wet my brush, and just intensify a little bit. I'll go back onto Pyramid. So pigmented and no fallout. Okay, so now I'm gonna do a wing liner and I'll be right back. So now just gonna use a little bit of Obsidian, the black shadow, and apply just a little bit in the outer corner. Very carefully, I am very gentle. Now onto the lower lash line. I'm going to go first to Unity, first shade we used. Then same brush, I'm going to the shade Saturn. Then with a Kiko pencil brush, I'm gonna go to the shade Throne. Spray my brush. I'm gonna take a little bit of Parallel, the brown one, with the same brush. And I'm gonna go to the shade Sphinx. This shade, it's a very like almost creamy shadow. Take my Colourpop pencil brush. I'm gonna take the shade Lucid and highlight the inner corner with it. Lightly gonna highlight the brow bone. take back the first brush, just don't add anything on it, just blend. Now I'm gonna add some black liner in my waterline. Okay, just gonna put some mascara on and probably pop out some lashes, finish my face, and I'll be right back. And that is the finished look. I put on some Huda Beauty lashes, and that's the first time I'm using them, and I'm really liking them. These are the Harmony number 17 Easy Lash, and they're just individual like parcels of lashes, you know, and I think it looks very nice. Like, it's really wispy, feathery. It's nice because it doesn't cover like the lid, it doesn't hide the look, but I'm really liking that look too. All the shades, once again, all the shadows I've used, I love that throne shadow. I think it's a beautiful color, and I love it paired with Pyramid. This is such a beautiful true gold, and once again, you know, Parallel, that brown shadow is so nice for a transition shade. And I just, yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. What do you guys think? Might be my favorite. Also, well, because it's so gold, so nice, I couldn't resist. I used my Trophy Wife highlighter, Kilowatt highlighter from Fenty Beauty, and I think this looks stunning. Let me undo my hair so it looks a little bit more glam. Yeah, what do you guys think? I think it's probably my favorite so far. It's so unique, you know, and I love that technique, like to put a little bit of concealer and just do a half cut crease look. And then I went for something nude on my lips. I just paired my Kylie Cosmetics lip liner in the color Ginger, and I applied a little bit of my NARS Stripped Velvet Lip Glide. I want to use a little bit more Osiris. It's such a beautiful shade, and on the first look, I did not give it justice as much as I did for Throne for that look. I think it's my favorite Anastasia Beverly Hills palette. Do I dare to say that? I love a Modern Renaissance. This palette, you can create so many beautiful night looks, I would say. You can do something very light for the day. I love that shade Parallel. I think this can be a transition shade. You can do so many things with that shadow. I love that it is in that palette. I love the shade Eden and Saturn. They're very beautiful. I think you can do a lot of things with Sphere actually. And I think that would be also very pretty all over the lid and do something very graphic. The Obsidian, the black, is beautiful, very pigmented. I really like Lure too. It looks like it would be a light transition shade, but actually it's a little bit more pigmented than it seems to be. So you have to be light-handed, but otherwise it's very nice for a cool tone look. Eternal, Sphinx, Pyramid. Pyramid, oh my god, look at that. True gold in the inner corner of my eyes. I love it. I love it paired with Throne, and I'm sure it will be also beautiful with Osiris. Lucid is a very pretty highlighting shade, although I would have liked to have something a little bit more cool tones as well. Not as pink as Cube from the Subculture, but something in between, because if you do a cool tone look, well, you saw for my second look I had to dig into another shadow for highlighting my inner corner. Dimension is also a very beautiful shadow, so honestly I love that palette. I can't wait to play more with it. If you like this kind of video, 3 looks for 1 palette, please let me know down below. Let me know which look you prefer. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Instagram. I post lots of photos, I post lots of reviews, so please check me out and click on the little follow button. I will really much appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.